The Gemara said, "Oh, what about when when the man goes to war?" The pasuk says that she'll be to ish acher. What's the case? The Gemara says maybe ish acher is what? The brother-in-law, because he has no children before the first year.
It would say she has no children.
So okay, the Sigma's it's inferring it. And then the guy says, let's go back. We're on Yud Gimel Amud Bet.
I was also trying to find out how death is going to exonerate or cleanse the lady.
Not cleanse, what cleanse? What cleanse, Mr. Gindi? Give her freedom. Give her freedom.
She's already kadosh, so give her the
Right.
opposite of cleanse.
So that she becomes allowed to everyone else
The first word, 10 lines from the bottom of the page. Kra. We have a pasuk. Ooh, beautiful pasuk. Pen Yamud b'milchama. First year, the Kohen goes. Mr. Cheer, listen carefully. The Kohen goes up on the. I'm going to tell you a story. Before we continue, we'll start with a joke. Not a joke, a real story. In the city of Brest-Litovsk, Brisk, the chief rabbi was a man named Rabbi Chaim Soloveitchik. The president of the community was a man named David Begin.
Any relation?
Yes, his father. Menachem Begin's father. And what was the latest rage of Europe? The Yiddish theater. The Yiddish theater. Any city which was worth its money was what? Had a Yiddish theater. Brisk was a large city. They wanted a Yiddish theater. They go to the rabbi and said, isn't it a nice thing? They will all go together Motzei Shabbat after Mahavakah and see a movie, see a theater, see a play on Jewish things. You don't have to go to the Goyim to see off Broadway. You don't have to go to Comedy Central, Loyal there, what it's called. The rabbi said, Asur! Asur! So you think they listened to the rabbi? They didn't listen to the rabbi. The modern Jews didn't listen to the rabbi. They brought a theater. It was going to be played every Saturday night.
They have here in New York too.
Sure, New York, they have plenty. They have not one, they have many.
The Second Avenue Theater.
So now, they even make Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish.
Yeah.
So now they have advertisements. The first play, the Jewish Wars. Nothing to do with Hanukkah, Mr. Gindi. I don't know where you got Hanukkah, the Jewish Wars. Jewish Wars is the Romans, Josephus, Bar Kokhba. And you said Hanukkah. You have the book, and you have the book. And you have the book, Mr. Now all of a sudden what takes place, everybody's excited. The Jewish Wars, Bar Kokhba, was able to do what? Was able to beat the Romans for 2.5 years. He was able to take Jerusalem. This is the Zionist play. How we're going to take the Palestine from the British, from the Arabs. Okay. They all come. Packed out, standing room only. The curtain opens up. And all of a sudden what takes place? They see Moshe Dayan, Ben Gurion, all the, I don't know about Moshe Dayan, but Jabotinsky, they're looking at the map of the state of Israel. And they have the enemies coming, and they're making tactics. How they're going to defeat the Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Syrians. Is it? Davar Gadol. Back and forth. Curtain goes down. Curtain gets back up. You see the general standing on the podium, talking to the troops. This victory is in our hands. Of course, they don't mention God. Victory is in our hands. We're going to win. Next thing, the curtain goes down. the curtain goes down. And now, third act, the curtain goes back up. And who is standing on the podium? No more general. Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol is telling them, who planted a vineyard? Go home. Who built a house? Go home. Who got married? This is our pasuk. Shla, go home. Now, from a mass army of Jewish young men, slowly withering, who spoke during Kriyat Shema? All of a sudden, everybody's home. There's two people. The last scene, they open up the curtains. Two people left. The Vilna Gaon and the Shagat Aryeh. And then right when they see the two soldiers left with the general, a big plaque comes down. The end. It took him time to these modern Orthodox Zionists to understand what they were saying. And then they realized that they were making fun of their dreams, making fun of their what? Plans. They started taking tomatoes, throwing it instead of an ovation. Throwing it at the they didn't appreciate it. But David Begin runs with three other members of the committee to the rabbi. We had to put them in cherem. The rabbi says, I told him not to do it to begin with. To put them in cherem is not such a simple thing. He says, tell me what they did. And we'll tell you if they can put them in cherem. We'll tell them the whole play verbatim. They are what? Angry. And the rabbi sitting there smiling. You see how they disregard our belief? He smiles. It's a beautiful play. They should have made it longer. They didn't finish it. The Begin says, what do you mean they didn't finish it? It says Bitulta. They should have come back victorious. With the victory. So anyway, back to our Nekuda. Comes the Gemara and says, Pen Yamut b'milchama. Maybe he will die in war, so he doesn't have to go to war. And another person will take him.
Oh yeah, top right.
And another person will take his wife. Matkif Lanev Shisha. Mr. Gindi, back to our Nekuda. Can death destroy the Kiddushin? Now it says that what takes place? The man's going to go to war, he's going to die, and she goes to Ishached. Oh, so you see death breaks the union? The Gemara says, no, it doesn't break nothing. Who is the Acher? The brother of the Yavam.
So only for the brother. The other men, all are forbidden.
Right. First, the Yavam lo ikra Acher. Don't tell me it's Yavam, because Yavam is not Acher. Yavam is on the same Kiddushin. He is a representative of who? Of the dying, the dead brother. He's not a new person.
It's not a Yikaf either. It's not the Kiddushin.
Right? It's all the same person. Acher v'od and more. Kitiv v'sana isha acharon v'katav la'aseh v'kritut or ki yamut ha'isha acharon. The pasuk goes on and says, in the case of marriage, and he hates her. And the Gemara tells us, what does it mean, hate her in Ketubot? She does something which is wrong, something which is vulgar. He hates her. It's right there. And he said, and he does what? He gives her a get. Or ki yamut, or he dies. Just like the Gemara goes on and says, connect, what the Pasuk says, connects death with what? With get. So they're both the same. Just like get freezer, death freezer, v'it kish mital gerushin. And what does it do? It compares death with gerushin. Ma gerushin shaya v'gomeret. What is Kiddushin? What is Gerushin which completely negates the Kiddushin? Af mitar shaya v'gomer.
Next Mishnah.
Can you clarify something?
Yes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achol yedero.
The story of Ruth and Boaz, he was down the line. So in other words, it went from the brother to the brother-in-law, and went all the way through to him.
Right. So I'm not going to explain it completely, but I will try to give you an answer. The answer is as follows. There is two concepts of Yibum. One concept of Yibum is a biblical concept of Yibum, and one is a Torah concept of Yibum. Okay, I'll change it. Pre-biblical. Pre-biblical. So there was a concept of Yibum even before the Torah was given. And where do you see that? That there was a man named Judah. And Judah had a good friend who was Adomi, who was a non-Jew. And at that time, his two sons got married. Or one son got married. And the son sinned. And he died. And then he had another brother. And Yehuda told him what? Take your brother's wife. He also sinned. He also died. Now there was a third son. Shit. And now, all of a sudden, what are you talking about? Yibum is only once goes around, doesn't go twice. Oh, but here you have it's going 3 times. Because this is a pre-biblical Yibum.
They allowed it to
And more so. And then Yehuda married her. Oh, how could Yehuda marry her? It's a sister Asur. Nobody kept her. He lived with her. What do you mean back there? So how did they do that? Every biyah is a shur. Sure. Why? Because that was pre-Torah. When Torah came, now when it came to Boaz, they still did what? They still were customary to use the pre-Torah also. There are 2 Yibum, the pre-Torah and the other one. As long as it wasn't a relative which was Asur from the Torah, they would also, this is the words of what? Not my words. And Mr. Giddy, maybe you not like the words. These are the words of Josephus. And it's a very beautiful explanation of the story of Ruth and Boaz. Because without this explanation, we are stuck. Because he wasn't a what? He wasn't a brother. How did he do Yibum? Got it? The pre-biblical, they did a pre-biblical Yibum was still in what? Was still in practice. Now we don't have it in practice.
Boaz said there's a kinsman that comes before me, so it was a
Pre-biblical, do you hear me, doctor? Pre-biblical way of doing Yibum. They would do the Torah way, but if the Torah way didn't exist, they would do the what? The pre-biblical.
You said Gida Nisha was pre-biblical?
No.
Can't, no.
So, the same Gida Nasher, the same mitzvah of Gida Nasher stayed, it didn't change. It wasn't a different Gida Nasher.
It was accepted by classification.
Mr. Gindi, did you hear what I said? I know you didn't hear me. You weren't listening. The Gida Nasher of Yaakov was the same Gida Nasher of Moshe Rabbeinu. When I open up the Gemara, same Gida Nasher was Asur. Here, the Yibum was a different Yibum. So therefore, it's a pre-Torah establishment. This was the Torah establishment. The same Gila Nashem. What? Yeah, pre-revolt by Goyim. But we're not going to go there.
Rabbi, why did they
Okay, I don't want to go there.
Why did they liken Gita Nasher humans to animals? How did they link that?
I don't know. I don't care. What are you asking questions from left? Who cares? The Torah tells you don't eat Gila Nasher. Why? Because Yaakov's Gila Nasher. What's the difference? I don't know. Leave it out. Mr. Gindi, nothing to do with anything. So let us continue. Can we continue? New concept. Are you with us, doctor?
Could I ask you one more thing?
Yes, sure.
If a husband is going into a certain situation, is he obligated to give?
No. There was a minhag to give a get, but there was never an obligation to give a get.
And what do we know Yevamah becomes married to
The Mishnah went on and said, after it talked about Ha'isha Nikneit B'Shalosh Drachim, after it says that she's acquired it in two ways. Now it goes and says, what about the Yevamah? The Yevamah is acquired b'biyah.
Last line.
B'biyah, Minalo. Jack and doctors. B'biyah, Minalo. How do we know?
her Yavam shall cohabit with her and take as a wife.
Right? We know that seems like a vulgar thing. We know when it comes to Kiddushin, you open up the Masechet Kiddushin, and what does it say? Let me just stop. Before, the doctor took me off the track, but I'm going to go back on the track. In the Shulchan Aruch, I wanted to say before we jump, the Rama goes on and says something very interesting. The Rama in Siman Yud Zayin says like this. What happens if a person is dead? There was a crazy man named Mr. Moody. You heard of Moody? Who's Mr. Moody? Moody. The Moody Blues. That's a very
Nice.
Now, so okay, Hashem, he loves Hashem. Comes Mr. Moody, and he has books on what? On what?
I'm trying to erase it.
Why erase it? How do you know you don't like it? You don't care. You don't even know what he says if you don't like it. It should be just the opposite. I like him till I know what he says. He comes and he says he has taken people, hundreds of people, who have died and come back from death. So now the doctor, Elliot also doesn't like it. No.
What is this?
And what does he do? And he goes and he talks about them and he sees their shared experience. Okay.
Past lives.
Past lives. Now, Mr. Gindi, so the Shulchan Aruch goes on and talks about Moody. What does it say? The Rama goes on and says, I have a young man who is halachically dead, and he's revived and he comes back to life. What's the thing? Does he have to remarry his wife? Is his wife considered free?
His heart stopped and he came back to life.
Or
His heart stopped and he revived. Came back to life.
So heart stopped is what was called.
no breathing, no heart.
If the heart stopped and they revived him, he never died.
Who told you that?
The guy stopped, they revived him, and he was
How long he
We have a case in Yechezkel, and they made a an Israeli comic, all about it. They had it in the Jerusalem Post for maybe 40 years. The Jerusalem Post, Marmaduke. And it was it's Haftarah. What does it say? Yechezkel is looking at a field. What's in the field?
Oh, the bones?
The bones.
Dry bones.
Dry bones.
Ah, dry bones. Yeah, I think he just passed away.
Oh, he just passed
I feel
away.
like this, yeah.
Allah Shalom. He made a lot of people laugh. So, what's the dry bones? It was the comics in Jerusalem Post. Why did he call it the dry bones?
Oh yeah, the title of the comic was Dry Bone.
What did it have to do with anything? Like in America, they had Doonesbury.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
Doonesbury.
it's still around. Horrible.
Horrible. But the dry bones was a geshma, very nice. What did he do? What was he telling us? He was telling us the Zionist dream that you thought the Jewish nation was dead. 6 million died. Who knows what's going to be? They brought him back to life. And that was Kishon. Who was the one?
Yes, Yaakov.
Kishon.
Born in Brooklyn, New York.
Look. And he passed away?
I believe so, yeah. Very recently.
Baruch died Emet. But that's dry bones. Now.
Yeah, he died.
That's more than just.
Oh, well, slow down.
April 19th.
April 19th. Oh, well, just now.
Yeah.
But did they get the
You
flesh?
see me? You see?
This month.
Mina Shema.
April 19th.
Mina Shemayim. We talk about him after Shloshim. Shloshim, right now. You know, I never spoke about it before. And he never heard of it. You never read Dry Bones? Yeah. Beautiful.
Make an impression on you.
It should have made an impression on you. Just the name should make an impression on you.
Okay, I'm a Ma'amina.
The name should make an
No, for some Ma'amina, that's the opposite. Dry, it stays dead. No,
Mr.
dry
Giddy,
bones
did you
alive.
read the? That was the whole part of the comics. That the dry bones
Oh,
came
that's
back to
that
life.
Zionist,
Came back to life.
Yeah.
In 1960, there was a historian who went to McGill's University. I told you many times. Went to McGill's University and said, Jews are a relic nation. They're fossils. They're dead. They're worthless. And he says, and what remained of them is worse than the Nazis. You know what's his name?
Lopez.
He wrote books about this high. Arnold Toynbee.
Yeah, I heard.
This you heard of, but Kishon you didn't hear. Yeah. The anti-Semite we hear about, but the lover of Jews we don't hear. Arnold Toynbee made these radical statements in a lecture in McGill University in Montreal. Montreal! You don't even know your place. In Montreal. And now what took place, who was the ambassadors of Canada at the time, one of the great Talmidei Chachamim, the son of the chief rabbi. The chief rabbi's name was Rabbi Herzog. His son, Yaakov, left the yeshiva Hebron and became ambassador to Canada. And he heard the lecture on the radio. And he was taken aback. He was 30 years old. Fuming. He went and he said, what? I'm going to take care of this man. I'm going to make a public debate in McGill's University.
It's recorded. Right?
Sure, it's recorded. In McGill's University. He told the Israeli consul, I'm going to do it. They said, don't do it. You're a little pipsqueak. He's a scholar, a world-class scholar. He says, he won't embarrass me, he's an idiot.
Where'd they stage it?
In McGill's University, where he gave the negative. We'll take him. He started off the debate. I am not representing the state of Israel because they asked me not to. I'm doing it on my own. That's how he started the debate. You know, he had books. This guy had books. Thousands and thousands of pages. Came the yeshiva bacher, Rav Yaakov, and He had 4 days to prepare for the debate, or a week. I don't remember how long, because they were leaving. He read all of them. I don't know how he reads them. And he starts quoting them. I thought he didn't use notes. He started quoting them. He took this man and he made him into a kibba. Machshi. Ground meat. The came with naya, right? That's what I was thinking.
My father used to make it.
So that is what? That is how Rav Yaakov. He was an unbelievable personality. It's a shame that he passed away young, but he was a religious young man who had true love for Israel. Okay, but back to no, I know here the Rasha. Okay, I don't know how Rasha. Mr. Toynbee, Arnold Toynbee.
1961.
1960.
Well, yeah. He was 71.
Yeah, good.
Toynbee, just want to make sure that he's being burnt right now.
To be kind of like Frank Paul, like Jack was suggesting.
And then you want to know, what the end of what happened at the end?
British. Famed British historian.
He didn't admit nothing. His wife went to the debate. She told him, Arnold, didn't I tell you not to mess around with those Jews and the devil?
Come on.
Like, come on. That's exactly what came to my mind. Exactly what came to my mind. Is there, okay. It happened to me in Northwestern University. Not by Hicks, but by what? By intellectuals. Not the professor didn't ask me. But somebody came, they said, I used to wear a big kippah like this. You wear that cap to hide your bone? Your horn? Okay, let's go on.
Give him one of those. Yes.
והיבמה נקנית. היבמה נקנית בביאה. בביאה, we really went off. We went off course today, but we'll go back.
It's Eli's fault.
It's all Eli's fault. All the doctors. So, what's the question? Again, let's go back to the question. Them bones. Does Mitab free her? And if she comes, listen, no, Mauricio, we said we're going back to the Ramah and Shulchan Aruch. A person who was dead and he comes back to life. What is the deen? Is she what? Free to marry anybody she wants because he died. So come, Mauricio, and answers the answer of the Pitchet Shuvah. Just because we think he's dead, maybe he's not dead. Halakha tells you he's dead. Halakha tells you in most cases this guy's dead. Doesn't tell you necessarily he's dead. If you see him comes alive, the halakha says, 2 men says, John was killed, and then John comes into the courtroom. John's not dead. So we have Wedim saying that he was dead now because alive. He was never dead. Then he goes on, and the Rama says, what about the wife of Eliyahu and the wife of Chanoch? They never died. He says that they turned into angels. So angels you can't get married. Right. Okay, but that becomes an interesting question.
Does she have to wait till he comes back alive, or what's the story here?
He didn't check out at the beginning.
No, he's sitting there, nothing. They're trying to revive him.
Check out.
She has to put
Just wait.
how long? Because maybe she's free. Huh? Maybe she's maybe she's free. Exactly.
But no, the fact that he revived means he was never dead.
Okay, so what if she did something in between?
There was a rule. Okay, I'm not going to go to that. Okay, one more thing. We had in the note in the Times and the note of Yehuda. Mr. Getty, listen. There was a Caesar, not a Caesar, what was it called in the Austrian Republic? Not a Caesar. The leader of the Austrian Republic is called Bismarck. I don't know what he was called, but they made a rule that you can't bury a person within 3 days of death, because 2 cases had taken place out of millions, which they woke up. At the funeral, he woke up.
Yeah, they did.
So they wanted to do that too.
Or he was.
Make that. He says that sounds a very good thing.
Or he was not
Do
in
it.
the casket.
Do,
Leave it in 3 days.
do it for the Jews also. Maybe we should also do it. So what's halakha? You're saving a person's life. Bearing him alive. Can you imagine that? A sword. They want to use that 3 things. That would cause tremendous difficulty because you'll be an oneh and not be able to do mitzvah for 3 days. When a person goes in Lo Alenu, his dad and goes to Israel, he causes troubles, a lot of halachic problems.
Yeah.
His sons, the person passed away on Sunday. Till they get a flight is Monday. Till they marry is Tuesday. They don't work feeling for 3 days.
Lo talin anyway.
Big problem. Big
So
problem.
don't get married in Eretz Yisrael.
Lo talin walking anyway.
So how do you get buried in Eretz Yisrael? People get buried in Eretz Yisrael 3 days after the death. And if a person dies on Friday, Shabbat, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, what do you do?
Maybe they let them put
What do you
them
do?
on only for Shabbat and.
So you know what the modern Orthodox do? Not the modern Orthodox. The non-religious.
They cremated.
They throw a handful of dirt in the casket. Say, oh, that's also buried. Okay, nothing to do with nothing.
If you open up all the casket right now, I'm sure you see scratches in
Okay.
Rabbi, they're not
There's been
allowed to
reports.
pray either.
Then, Rabbi,
Right, you can't pray.
Rabbi,
Right.
has there been reports that they go up in the coffin and you see that the guy was alive?
Torah Chaim Kadosh, אולי.
Mr. Guinea will tell you a story. Very famous story.
Oh, yes.
Very famous story.
I think I know this story.
I'm good. Young woman.
Lady.
Okay, young woman and young man get engaged in the city of Minsk. Maybe Minsk, I don't know, one of the cities in Europe. It's written in their book of the Chavra Kadisha. They get married. They got engaged. Not halachak engaged. Engagement wedding. And they're going to make a wedding. They have an idea of a wedding. The boy is a little bit of a wild boy. So the day before the wedding, what does he do? His friends make him a party in the forest. So out of the eyes and ears of the people of the city, they go and they do what? They can drink and eat a little bit. They have a bachelor. It's called in Yiddish a spinzel. You'll open up Mishnah Berurah in the law in Hilchot Shabbat. He tells you, can you make a spinzel on Shabbat? Okay, whatever it may be, they make the spinzels because you have the ufruf and spinzels. Okay, make the spinzels, and they drink a little bit. And one of the friends tell him, George, you got the ring? He said, of course I got the ring. He brings out the ring, gold ring, halachically proper. He says, look, there's a twig coming out of the ground. Let's see how you're going to give it to your wife. So he looks at the twig. It's not a twig. It's a finger. He goes, puts the ring onto the finger. And all his friends are looking. L'chaim, l'chaim, toivim, l'sholom. You never heard the story? Yeah, it's a famous story. They made a play. They made a book out of it. They did the going take our stories, and all of a sudden she doesn't do nothing. Nothing happens. There's continues drinking, and then they see what movement in the ground. movement in the ground, and
something comes
Something's
up.
coming out. In shrouds. And she runs after her new husband. The group says, they all run. They run home, lock their doors, and she chases them. Next thing they know is what? They're petrified. So the best friend in the morning comes. George, did you see anything last night when we were at the Spinzolds? Says in fear. No, I saw nothing. Says me too. Nobody saw anything. They go down to the wedding. Here comes the bride. Here comes the groom. All of a sudden, the groom comes first. That's how the thing. Why does the groom come first? Because he has to welcome the woman into his space. His space is the space is the chuppah. So he has to welcome her into the chuppah. So he comes first, right? So it's not when we go and let the chatan go first. It's not empty ideas. It's part of it. We do it, of course we do it. Now all of a sudden, we'll cut the story short. All of a sudden, the chatan goes up, and while the kala is putting on her makeup, who walks down? The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead comes, and who's at the chuppah? The rabbi, if I'm not mistaken, was Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yehuda says to the chatan, who is this?
He lifts up the veil.
There's no veil. He tells them what happened. And Rabbi Yehuda, before showing anger to the chatan, he calls the kala and starts talking. The Walking Dead. He says, what happened? Why do you think this is your... He says, because a tragedy happened in my life. Before I got married, there was an accident and I died. And I can't, and I didn't fulfill my life. I want to get married now. And he came. So came the Rabbi Yehuda said, Kiddushin does not work by dead people. I'm getting psak halacha. And right then and there, she fell to the ground again. But the story goes on. I made it very short. What story? Now you're making fun of the Chevra Kadisha of Minsk? Sure.
Sounds like a Twilight.
Rabbi, I didn't intend such a...
Have a good day. So today we had